Whoa. Good afternoon. This is Laurel. Laurel, fibroid flower child. Trying to figure out how to get my phone to stay up. Might have to come back because the phone keeps falling. Okay, can get it to stay. I don't know how long that'll last. We'll make this quick. Hi, Domino. Thanks for watching. Hi. I just really quickly wanted to show you guys how to make bacon. Because, you know, part of what we're doing here in the 21-day Fibroid Fix isn't really just to cut out all the joy in life. It's just to find alternatives. And hi, Vera. Thanks for watching. I just wanted to really quickly show you guys how to make bacon. I'm going to make a BLT salad, and I'm going to include some avocado in that. And so to get started, I'm going to put just a little bit of oil on my baking pan. And I've also got coconut chips. I think it's backwards in the camera, but you want to get the chips, not the shredded coconut. You want to get the bigger pieces. Hi, Gabor. I think I still have butchered your name, but I'm sorry, Miss Sheldon. I'm glad you're watching. We're making BLT salad. So to start, just gonna take my baking dish. If you're using a baking dish that isn't metal, by the way, you're gonna wanna go 25 degrees lower than the recipe calls for if you're using a glass baking dish. And I'm just gonna take a cap full of oil. I don't really even need that much. And I'm just gonna put it right on my dish and sort of just spread it around to coat my plate. Now what I really should have done was buy some parchment paper, but I have trouble with parchment paper because that is a plastic coating on the paper. If you're careful and if you're looking, you can find real parchment paper at the health food store that's not plastic or coated in plastic. But instead, I would just recommend putting some oil on your dish. And then you just, it's so easy, ladies. This is so awesome. You're just gonna take a handful of coconut chips. It's probably equal to about a cup or two. Can you see that? And you're just gonna spread it out on your plate. See that? And you can see it's a little bit toasted. There's a few pieces that have some browning, but not really. We're gonna get it toasted good and brown. Before I throw it in the oven, I'm gonna sprinkle some Bragg's liquid aminos over it. And now this is soy based, so I'm gonna use it sparingly. I try to totally avoid soy, completely avoid soy. I don't do tofu, I don't do soy sauce. I will do a little bit of Bragg's liquid aminos, or I'll do coconut aminos, which are a little bit sweet, and they might be a really good thing to try to make coconut bacon. But I'm afraid that the sugariness to the coconut aminos will make my coconut bacon stick. And since I don't have parchment, I'm going to avoid that hassle. So I'm just going to put about a tablespoon, I would say, maybe even less. And I'm just going to sprinkle it on my coconut flakes, my coconut chips as they're called. I'm just going to toss that. I would say I'm going to be careful and make sure everything gets coated, but I'm not going to really be careful. It'll all be really salty and bacony when I take it out of the oven. Now I'm going to bake it for about 10 to 15 minutes, and I'm going to turn it about halfway. So I'm going to put it in the oven. But before I do that, I've got something that goes in the oven with it. Instead of having a BLT sandwich, we're having a BLT salad. And so I took a couple of pieces of the Ezekiel bread to defrost out of my freezer, and I'm just going to cut these up for croutons in my salad instead of having a sandwich. these are going to go into another glass baking dish. Again, I'm going to do what I can to avoid using metal or plastic. And these are just going to go cut up squares into the oven. I'm going to drizzle them with a little bit of oil first, and I would recommend coconut oil. But another good one that I have here to show you all is grapeseed oil. And I'm just going to drizzle about a tablespoon over the bread, and then I'm going to pop that in the oven. And these are both the coconut chips and my Ezekiel bread. They're going to bake at, well, the recipe said 350 to 400. I'm doing 25 degrees less, so I'm going to bake these at 375 for about 15 minutes. And they both get turned halfway through. So I'm going to set my timer for 7 minutes. Now, one thing I want to warn you is to keep an eye on your coconut chips because they will burn very quickly. I tried making a batch this morning, and I'll show you. This is all I got out of the burned batch. This is what it will look like when it's done. But yeah, we got a lot of blackened coconut chips the first time around this morning. Okay, I'll show you. I'll show you the disaster. Because I saved them, because what if my husband wants them? So that's how they can turn out too black very quickly. But, you know, that little charcoaly flavor might be good. He might want to eat it, so I didn't throw them out. These are what I'll be enjoying. I won't eat the burned ones. Now, while I'm waiting for my coconut chips for my bacon, I've got a small heart of romaine already chopped up and a few leaves of kale already torn up, and I've just got one leaf left to show you guys for the kale. What you're going to do is take out the spine, and you might, you know, depending on the kale you're using, you might even take out some of these bigger ribs if they're really big. But I just peeled down the spine. And I actually saved the spine. I wouldn't throw it away because that's some really good fiber for your smoothie. And kale being cruciferous, really important, really good healing food for fibroids. So kale, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, those are all, I think it's brassica family? Anyways, they're all the cruciferous vegetables. And so then with my kale, I'm just going to tear it up into tiny little bite-sized pieces. I'm kind of picky when it comes to going out for salad, and I'm always like getting my salad and can I have a knife? And I cut up my salad even smaller. I really like a super chopped fine salad. So again, the last piece of kale, I'm just pulling all the greens off the stem or the spine. I'm going to save that in a baggie for next round of making smoothies. And so I've just got some kale and some lettuce. If you're planning ahead, oh, I forgot. I've also got some parsley because I do try to find a way to get my greens in, and I don't really always want to eat my greens. So I have to find the ones I like. I like parsley. What I was trying to say before I interrupted myself was that if I had thought about it, I would have taken this kale and set it aside to marinate in some oil and vinegar. And I would have even done some like massaging or some crunching and rubbing of the kale just to sort of soften it. But I think taking the spine out is good enough. So I've just got my salad ready to go. I'm gonna check, show you guys what it looks like. I didn't set the timer, so we're eyeballing it. But I would say we're about halfway there. And I am going to go ahead and turn it. You definitely want to keep an eye on your coconut bacon as it does start to cook really quickly. And you can smell it, luckily. So it's a good one for learning how to cook with your nose. Toss my croutons as well. And throw those back in for a few more minutes. I'm thinking I'm going to turn it down a little bit, just above 350, because we don't want more burned bacon. Someday, Bor, I'm going to learn how to say your name. I think maybe you need to make us a live video so we know how to say it right, so we're not doing a disservice to you. Okay, so where were we? So we've got the BLT. I need to cut up the tomatoes and I need to cut up the avocado. That's super last minute, so I'm doing it right now. One of the things, I don't know if I've talked to you ladies about this, but I want to show you. One of the things that I try to do is I try cutting up my fruits and my vegetables irregularly. So when you think about an onion and you're taught to, you know, cut it in half, or an apple, you're taught to cut it in half. Well, I've heard that that can destroy some of the energy in the food, the chi. Supposedly there's like chi meridian lines in our bodies as well as in all the plants. And when you cut a piece of food right down the middle, that lessens the chi or the energy in your food. So I try to cut irregularly, which you'll notice that with tempura. You'll notice that in a Japanese restaurant, and I think that that's exactly why, is to preserve the nutrition in the food. And then I'm just cutting them in half, a little bit smaller. And I'm saving a little bit of my tomato. Where did that go? I don't want the top in there. There it is. Yuck. Let's get that out. I'm saving a little bit of my tomato, a very small amount, because I've also made a pot of rice. So I'm just going to throw some veggies in with the rice for a cold tabouli salad to go along with my BLT salad. So again, I'm just cutting up my tomato very rough. I like rustic and simple foods. I like being able to tell that it's completely natural. And this is a Campari tomato. If you ever find Campari tomatoes in the market, I highly recommend them. They're a lot like a Kumato. If you ever find a Kumato tomato or a Campari tomato, buy it. They're super yummy, and I'm super picky about tomatoes. So I'm gonna check on our coconut bacon. I smell it. Oh, it's perfect. And it is even starting to burn around the edges. But wasn't that quick? I don't think that was 15 minutes. I don't know, time flies when you're making a live video. I hope I'm not taking up too much of your time, but we've got the coconut bacon. I'm just gonna set it to cool. It is on a super hot plate, and it is gonna keep cooking a little bit. So if you find that your coconut bacon is already too brown, you're gonna wanna really take it off the plate and put it onto a cooler plate as soon as possible. And I think my croutons might need a little more time. I'm gonna keep those in the oven. I've got my tomatoes on my salad. I've got a little bit of tomatoes set aside for my tabouli, my rice tabouli. Tabouli's typically made with, I think, wheat bulgur, and I typically make it with quinoa, but I'm out of quinoa, so, you know, substitutions are the thing, and so I'm using brown rice. I Googled a brown rice tabouli recipe, and it suggested that I use cucumber, which I've never put in my tabouli, and I don't have. So my substitution for my cucumber in tabouli is going to be celery. Again, we're working with what we have and we're working with what we like. That plate is still too hot. Let's get that coconut bacon onto the salad. And as much as I love BLTs, I love BLTs with avo even more. So let's get some avocado onto this salad. And our salad is basically done. Well, croutons. Got a gorgeous avocado here. I'm going to see if I can just peel it. Got a couple of brown spots, and I am that picky person, so I'm going to cut those off. And then I'm just dicing up these avocados, wedges, quarters, to go on top of my salad. And I have a simple dressing to show you all as well. Let's get this other half of the avocado cut. Now your avocado, of course, is going to turn brown really quickly, so I would do this at the last minute, or I would drizzle some lemon juice over the avocado if it's going to be waiting before you assemble the salad for some time. We're looking good. We're getting there. I don't have my croutons. I got to get those out. Let's check. They're getting there. They're still a little soft. Give it another couple of minutes and I'm going to assemble my tabouli. Now again, I've got some brown rice. That was just 1 cup of brown rice that I made, and tabouli is typically eaten cold, so I'm fine with my rice cooling off. I've got green onions that are going to go in it. I'd say that's about 1/4 cup, and this is probably about 2 or 3 cups of rice once it's cooked, but it was 1 cup of rice to 2 cups of water, so that's how I made it. Again, I said I have celery instead of cucumber. I'm a little concerned that it'll be like potato salad, so I made sure to cut my celery really fine. The parsley that's in our BLT salad is actually from the tabouli salad. You're going to chop up your parsley real fine and not really use the stems. If a little bit of stems get in there, it's okay. It's not as bad as like cilantro stems, but you don't really want the stems. You want the greens. Let's see. I've got about 1/4 cup of grapeseed oil. Oh, and I've got about 1/4, maybe 1/2 cup of lemon juice. What else? What else? The last thing that goes in is some tomatoes that I chopped up and just a little bit of salt and pepper. I'd say that's about 1/2 teaspoon salt and 1/4 teaspoon pepper, but you can season it to taste. And usually there's a lot more tomatoes in this, but I just wanted a few. I just wanted a pop of color, really. There's my tabouli salad. I'm going to mix it all together. See that? And that's going to be delicious as a side to my main dish, which is my BLT salad. I think we're almost ready. Let's get these croutons on the salad. We're looking good. This is actually the sesame flavor of the Ezekiel bread. I usually go with the sourdough, if you have Netflix, there's a show on Netflix, I think it's called Cooked. And on one of the episodes, it's all about bread, and it's all about, you know, the gluten intolerance that we're seeing a lot of these days. And the author, or the guy who made the movie, goes on to explain what he thinks it's due to is the rise, the yeast that we use rises so quickly, and it's so unnatural. But in the olden days, before, you know, major grocery stores or whatever, people had to use starter, like sourdough starter, and that was the only way to get your bread to rise, was to basically like put some starter in it or let it sit out for a few days and let it naturally grow some bacteria. And so that's a healthier way to eat bread than we do nowadays, where we use fast-acting or fast-rising yeast. That's supposedly not as good for us. The better stuff is the sourdough. And so since then, I've really been sticking to the Ezekiel sourdough bread, except I just discovered their sesame bread, and it is so yummy. Oh my gosh, I love it. So today we're having BLT with avocado with sesame Ezekiel. Okay. So what do you think? We've got some tabouli. We've got, let's see, parsley, celery, green onion, tomato, lemon juice, oil, salt and pepper. And then we've got our BLT with avocado salad. And it's a really nice way to do a meal and have less bread. But I didn't show you the dressing. So for my salad dressing on my BLT salad, I think it's going to be a little plain without dressing. So I just made a simple salad. I've got a 1/4 cup of coconut aminos, a 1/4 cup of oil, the grapeseed oil, and a 1/4 cup of the apple cider vinegar, which I know you're getting used to, and it's probably in every one of your recipes now. And that's awesome. It's really good for you. It's a really good cleanser for your whole system. And so I'm just drizzling my salad dressing over my whole thing. And I'm going to put a little bit of salt and pepper on my salad and a squeeze of some lemon. And there we go. There's our BLT salad, Ezekiel bread, and avocado, and coconut bacon, and tabouli salad on the side. I'm ready to be served. Let's do this. All right, ladies, here we go. I've got the BLT salad with the coconut bacon and the tabouli salad with the brown rice instead of quinoa or wheat bulgur. Gotta get an avocado piece. Gotta get a tomato piece. I gotta make sure there's some bacon in this bite. Mmm. Oh, it is on. This is delicious. I won't keep talking on camera with food in my mouth. I'm sorry. Another good little side if you're not able to do the tabouli, or if you're not doing brown rice right now. I just want to show you really quick. Fruit is always a good option. We've got mango and watermelon and snow melon. And you can also always do, thanks Domino, you're so sweet. You can also always do veggies cut up, and I've got a little bit of cheese dip. It's a cream cheese, cashew cream cheese. I really recommend Treeline brand cashew cream cheese that's chive and onion flavor. So we've got tons of food. I wish you were here. I guess I'll have to wait till he gets home. Enjoy. Thanks for watching. I'm out. Mwah. Bye, goddesses.